with the work session for December the 8th. Opening statements is the review of the work session. I'd like to ask the board if you had a chance to look at the work session minutes. Are there any changes or additions?
It looked good to me.
Okay, with no comment, then we will go and move those on to Tuesday night's meeting. Nothing under item 2. Item number 3 is department reports. And A is Public Works. Eddie Plunkett.
Shovel Highway has been paved and completed. North Street, we done the final on it Tuesday, the 6th. Curtis Askins, we painted the lines on it, and they painted Shovel Highway. Street park will be closed the 23rd and 26th. Garbage will be picked up on the 27th, Tuesday, and we'll be closed January the 2nd. Garbage will be picked up Tuesday the 3rd. That's my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Plunkett? We'll go to item B. First of all, we will be passing on for Tuesday night the oath of office of our police chief, Henry Graff, and go on to item number 2, Chief.
I also have 4 officers, Officer Cantrell, Gowan, Miller, and Simplevong, who will also receive their oath of office. Item number 3, the Governor's Violent Crime Intervention Fund. The Governor has allocated $100 million in grant money to be used across the state to combat violent crime. Obviously, our 3 murders this year has pushed us up on that list, so we'll be applying for that grant. Commander Templeton has done an outstanding job researching this and preparing us for it, and I'll let him give you a quick brief on that.
Good morning.
Morning.
There are actually 2 types of grants we're going to be able to tap into out of this $100 million. The first one is a formula-based grant, which the state has already allocated $136,339, I believe, that if we apply for, we should be able to get that and use that for anything we're looking at, such as body cameras and such. The other grant we can tap into is the Competitive Collaborative Enhancement Grant, which allows us to tap in with other jurisdictions within the area or any other nonprofit organization that has had any success in crime prevention training, such as Big Brothers Big Sisters. There has to be a 5-year track record for this group. But we are looking to partner with the Lincoln County Sheriff's Department. We've spoken with them to see what they need and what we need and what we can use together. As a matter of fact, this afternoon I'm going to work with them to make sure all of our stuff is in order. That way, if this is approved, we can move forward at a pretty quick pace. There are certain guidelines, certain dates that we have to meet. There is an intent to apply, which was by December 15th. I went ahead and submitted the intent to apply. There was absolutely no obligation for us to do so. But I wanted to get ahead of the power curve and make sure that we were set. That way, if it was approved, we can move forward. The application deadline will be January 16th, and then the contracts will begin March 23rd of 2023 and would end in June 30th of 2025. These are non-matching grants, so we are not going to be out any money up front. The only concern that we have, and I've spoken with Chief Pendergraft and a couple of other members of our board, is if we take on a project that would share resources and would require future upkeep, such as the license plate readers, something we've discussed, is that something we're going to be able to continue to fund in the future? And that's pretty much all I have, unless y'all have any other questions.
Is this something the board needs to vote on? We need to carry this to a vote?
Yes, sir.
To approve all this?
Yes, sir.
And so would you, go ahead.
Well, Well, you know,
And the reason I say that is
Yeah.
because there is a potential for things that we purchase now.
continuing.
Yes, so the
expenses.
contracts, if we get the license plate readers, there will probably be an inherent contract with that company, and since we're partnering with another agency, you know, there's gonna have to be a memorandum of understanding and a mutual agreement between the two entities.
Can the police department have some kind of ballpark estimates on what that might cost going forward? Just,
I would have to get those numbers to you, but yes, sir, I can.
Okay.
The body cameras we've looked at, that was right around 100, a little over 100 to 130,000, I believe. That was for the body cameras, and that's more of a high-end figure.
Right.
But the license plate readers, we're gonna have to go through state contract, and there's one entity that's already on the state contract, and there's another one that is coming on board. We're kind of edging towards the one that's coming on board because they actually tie in with all around the country, and if we tie in with them, we can share information and share intelligence with other agencies. This other one is kind of a standalone feature, and we're holding off until we find out about this other system.
yeah, there's been talk about body cameras for 3 or 4 years now,
Yes, sir.
probably. So,
I think this would definitely be an opportunity for us to jump on that. We spoke with a local vendor yesterday and received some quotes for different things, different package deals. So, you know, that one's gonna be a little bit easier because, you know, eventually we may have to replace body cameras just like we would any other regular equipment. But my main concern is the ones that we take on a contract that we may have to continue in the future. These things that we're looking at, whether it's the poll cameras or the license plate readers or things like that, you know, they definitely would have helped us in different crimes.
so we'll know by Tuesday night, if not already, exactly what you plan on.
Yes, sir, I can pull those numbers, even if it's the high number for that state contract, I should be able to get that for you, yes, sir.
So it should be in a way too, to where if we approve it, that the body cameras would be approved, because that's been kind of a touchy issue.
Yes, sir.
You know, with a lot of the police departments, but if this board approves it, then, you know, it puts you in a better position, I believe.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Because you'll probably get a little feedback on body cameras from the public,
Yes, sir.
so.
But I think it's great for accountability for the public and the
Oh, I do too.
officers as well.
I do too, I agree with you. We don't have anything to hide.
No, sir, not a bit.
Okay.
Commander, this is something that we're not going to have to match either, correct?
That is correct, it is a non-matching grant.
Good deal.
Okay, that speaks to this note at the end, what you just said about the city maintaining the upkeep, maintenance, and cost of services and contracts.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
You just explained that, right?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
note at the end of the information here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and once the grant ends.
Yes, ma'am. Once the grant ends, then it will be on the city.
Okay.
But the other things are recurring between the county and the city, splitting that over the
Yes, sir.
years.
Yes, sir. And I have spoken with Sheriff Blackwelder, Miss Amy Metcalf, and Jeff Bradford, and they are absolutely on board with this. If we can share intelligence, resources, make it easier on both, and make our citizens safer, whether it's city or county.
So there'll be an interlocal agreement drawn up by the attorneys.
Yes, sir. And in fact, that will be a requirement
Right.
of memorandum of understanding on who will take care
And
of.
we'll vote on that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And if I may add, probably they will require a resolution to be part of the application.
I would think so. I would think so. That would be up to Mr. Hill, but I think he probably would. Because then, with the resolution, and we get into issues between the city and county later on, we've got the agreement in, which I don't think we get into any issues, but we got all our agreements in place.
So Commander, if I understand in your presentations, you did a wonderful job, thank you so much. The one grant they have told us it would be about, or have told you guys, it would be about $136,000. There's no matching money. And then on the second grant, you can apply up to $2 million with no matching funds.
That is correct. And that would be the collaborative grant. The $2 million would be the collaborative grant. And that's where we're looking at the more expensive endeavors, but, I think splitting it between the two of us, the two agencies, I think it'd definitely be beneficial.
So how would that split work? Just kind of curious. I mean, they're bigger than we are. They got more
It's,
based on.
again, that would have to be
50/50 or?
50/50, I think
Okay.
would be probably the most fair way. The chief and I were discussing this yesterday, and that would have to be part of the agreement of, where this money would, whether the money's gonna come straight to us, and this is one of the things we'll have to speak with, this goes through the UT Knoxville MTAS program, so we will have to get with them to nail that down, but the money will come to us, and as long as we have that agreement on who's taking care of what, we're looking at 50/50, that way it's fair across the board.
So you're thinking if all this passes and you were to get that grant, it would be coming through the city and then the city would do the paperwork and all and
Yes, sir.
split the funds like we do on 911?
Yes, sir.
That's the way we do on 911. Sound like a good plan. Anything free is a good plan.
Yes, sir.
Just to clarify, it's up to $2 million.
Right.
And I'm sure that's going to be based on the size of the city. I'm
Right.
sure the bigger cities will get the bigger chunk of it. But we can, according to the grant, we can get up to $2 million, but I would expect it to be lower than that.
Yeah.
We're gonna shoot for the moon though.
Yes,
absolutely.
yes. That's great, and I love to see the two agencies working together because fighting crime takes everybody,
It does.
so I appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Commander. Chief?
I have two items. First is a parade run walk permit application. The first one is going to be January 16th, celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. This group will start at Mount Zion Church, go up Maple Street, turn on South Main, then turn left on Market, then go to the gazebo. They'll have a short prayer service, and then they'll parade back to the church. I've approved this for consideration. It will be handled by on-duty personnel, so there'll be no overtime expended on this. The second is the Chocolate Walk, which will be February 9th, and it's a self-guided tour around downtown Merchants. From what I understand, people pay $25 to get a ticket and a list of participating vendors, and they just walk around on their own, so there won't be any large crowds that we anticipate all in one place at one time. And again, we'll handle this with on-duty personnel. We'll just put a heavy patrol frequent on it, and if we see that we need to adjust and assign an officer to it, we can do that. But again, it'll all be handled by on-duty personnel.
Does anyone have any questions of Chief Pendergraft?
Just for clarification, there on the application, the event location is the gazebo here on the square. It has here that it's at Cherokee Avenue.
Right, 509 Cherokee Avenue.
That's just for clarification, so
Yes.
that everyone knows.
Okay, I see that on the application, but it is the gazebo. And are they marching back, or I know you had spoke that you were going to have a conversation. Did that work out?
I haven't been able to get a hold of them.
Okay.
When I do, I'm going to explain to them we can't sit there while they have their prayer service, but when they're ready to march back, they can contact us and we'll come back and take them, escort them back.
I'll have her call you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Then we'll move on to the fire department. Chief Kimbrough?
The only thing I have for the fire department this month is we've been really busy with our toys, the toy drive and stuff. We will have a buy night actually tonight at 6 p.m., December the 8th, and then we have another one on December 13th, which is Tuesday night at 6 p.m. also. And we're just being real busy doing that right now.
Can you give the locations of those?
Yes, ma'am. Tonight's buy night will be at Walmart, and we usually do it from the garden center in, on that end of the building. And then Tuesday night will be at the Dollar General Market / Pop Shelf.
Anybody that wants to come out and help the firemen, please do. So this is
Anybody like to help, we'll greatly appreciate it.
Any Any questions of the fire chief?
What kind of conditions are all our vehicles in now? We've been having repair work done. All of them running?
We've got, engine one is currently at, Friendly Mountain getting some body work done. That was a warranty issue. The warranty
Okay.
still carry it. We do have another mechanical issue that's getting fixed only while it's down there. And then we've got, the ladders, pretty good shape. We have a few electrical issues with it every now and then. But other than that, engine 4 is running good. That's the newer engine that we just purchased last year. So it's running real good. And everything else is,
So we're not looking at any big expenditures on equipment for the next 2 or 3 years, maybe?
on equipment, as far as, mechanically,
trucks,
the ladder would probably be our next one we need to look at.
The what?
The ladder, doing something with it. Like I said, we have some mechanical or electronic issues with it every now and then.
So what's a ladder truck like that run now? About 1.5, 1.6?
About 2.
2?
You're gonna be all over a 1.9 to 2.
Okay.
Any other questions? We'll move on to Parks and Recs. Mr. Carter?
Our updates on our Stonebridge Park, the lights repair, right now, we are looking to find money to get that budgeted, and so we can get that done and get it repaired. The parking lot at the Old Lee building, I've gotten with Mr. Owens and with Mr. Plunkett, and we're looking to open up the fences and putting tile down and making a crossing there. And also, we're looking to get as far as our liability insurance is concerned for that, and hopefully we can get that completed here in the near future. Don Davidson electrical work, as the problem that we're having with that now is material. And it's looking like most of that, part of that will not be in until February, half of it. The other half will be in May. So just as soon as that material comes in, we will be able to work with that. I'm going to pass on fireworks down in just a few minutes. In just a few seconds, I have some things I want to discuss about that. Our tables and chairs, we're looking this morning to go. We finally got some in, and we're looking to go and purchase part of that this morning. Our Bright Lights and Festive Nights event went well. We were great. We were proud of that. Christmas parade. We want to thank Parks and Rec and all the guys there, of course. We want to thank Streets, Fire, and Police, and everyone else who came in to help us out. The event was really great, and looking forward to doing it again next year. Our coordinator update, we have made a hire with that, and it's Miss Carla Brown. She started last week, and we've got her ready to go. Our Independence Day event is going to cost us $30,500. We are short $2,500. Miss Owen and myself, we were going through my budget, and we found $2,500 in line item 910, which was pressure washing for Stonebridge Park, which we did that in-house. So what we're wanting to do with that is take that money and apply it to the Pyro Show, so we'll meet the $30,500 threshold for that. And with our ADA repairs at S.J. King Park, if you remember, that park was damaged back in the summer, and we're getting it repaired here soon. With that, and to make to make the restrooms ADA compliant, we would need $1,620. And basically what that would do is widen the doors so everything would be ADA compliant. We did find in line item 325 in new events that we could take that money out of that and reallocate it and create a new line item for that, and would be $1,620. And that is my report.
Thank you. Do we have any questions of Mr. Carter?
I'd say I appreciate you finding that money in your budget instead of having to ask for it. I know you and Jamie come through, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
On the ADA repairs, I'm sure all departments is coordinating with Christian's department planning, because we have to keep up with those
Yes.
We have to keep up with that.
Yes, actually, Jack was the one who realized that, and while they were doing the work there, it just made sense to go ahead and take care of it at that particular time.
So we'll be moving these two items on to Tuesday night because we'll have to vote on the change in money there. And, okay, we'll be moving on now to planning and codes. Ms. Gentry?
Thank you, Mayor. The first item on the agenda is the city billboard contract renewal and increase in the rental, monthly rental fee. The city has a billboard with MH Outdoor Media. We've had it for a few years now. Currently, our rental cost is $400 per month. That they're going to increase that to $425 per month, which is a 6% increase. So we would need to vote on renewing the contract, which is a year-long contract, and then the January to June impact for this current budget would be $150.
This came through the committee,
It did.
and we was okay with it.
And it's split, there's a total for the year, but Christie's broken it down into what it'll be for this budget cycle and, for both this sign and the next one she's gonna talk about as well.
Yeah.
Well, everything has a small increase every year, so I mean, I think it's well worth the money to keep it.
The second billboard is actually a partnership with the Chamber. We have also done this billboard with the Chamber for the last couple of years. It would be renewing the one-year contract, and then currently we pay $296.50 per month. The new amount would be $314.50 per month, which is an $18 increase or 6%. We also would pay half for a one-time production, a new face for the billboard. Our portion would be $215. So the total amount that would impact the current budget would be $323.
Now, this is going to be a whole new
Base.
scene on there. Is that going to be changed? It's going to all be changed new.
It hasn't been changed since it went up.
But it's going to be though, with this. We approve this. Okay. And you've got everything in place on the design, work and all's been looked at.
Once it's approved.
Once it's approved.
We'll move forward on it.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we've had good success with what's up there now. It's a takeoff on the banners, the Slawburger, Whiskey Slawburger, and Tennessee Heritage.
Well, you need to have I think y'all need to get together and have a talk about that on using everything on those banners. I don't know. Y'all work it out.
Yeah, this is an opportunity to change.
Yeah, well, there's been some feedback from some of the community on those banners. Where that's going, I don't know. I'm just telling you, there's been some feedback on some of that.
A lot of feedback.
Whole lot of feedback.
So,
I wasn't part of that process.
well, it could be, I don't know, but it could be that we might be taking another look at those banners that hangs around, and might be some redesign on those banners coming up. If it is, you might want what you're doing on the interstate to kind of match what the city might do on the banner. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Okay.
All right.
That's good.
That's good to know, isn't it? Well, I just found out not long ago.
Thank you, Ms. Carolyn. Thank you, Christie.
Both of these items came through finance. Finance moved it on, so we'll move this on then to Tuesday night. Proposed lighting on the square, Ms. Gentry?
If Mr. Hopkins could not make it, I guess, so I want to give a quick overview. But the Leadership Lincoln did present before the planning committee on Tuesday, I believe it was. But what they're going to do, Leadership Lincoln planned this year, they want to do a lighting project around the square, and they came in, the officers of this year's Leadership Lincoln class came and how the lighting will go around. They're going to pick up the entire expense. But they wanted permission from the board in order to use it as their project for the year.
think in our packets and on the iPads, there's a diagram and of what they're wanting to do. And I think of the board, weren't they just asking, they're gonna pay for everything, but in the future, they would be asking the city to maintain. If any of the bulbs go out, that's what they're asking for of the city. And they're gonna be using the LED lights, I understand, and they have like a 5-year life. So, you know, it wouldn't be like we're constantly replacing lights.
That's correct.
So there's 3 pictures here. Is this 3 options or is this 3 phases? What would that?
They're wanting to do it all, Tony. You can see one goes around this way.
Okay.
And then some go into the courthouse.
So they're wanting to do all 3 of them? Okay.
They're trying to raise $10,000.
Okay.
They'll be done in stages, but all 3 will be done at the end.
There won't be any charge on the installation.
Okay.
My understanding was, right?
They said our light posts are set up
And
to be
FPU
plugged into, and FPU will put them up.
Right.
They said they've talked with all those entities, so everything's good to go from their side.
Yeah, there's a little bit of talk about those trees around the square being, could be kind of a hindrance, but we've got this sidewalk project coming up, and those trees is gonna be addressed on the sidewalk project, so we'll see how that works out.
And I did alert Croy on that same day that we met that Lincoln, leadership Lincoln is looking to do the lights, and we may have to get with them on the planning part of it.
Do some upfront work, maybe. Okay, it's good.
So Mr. Owens, at this time, is this for informational only? Do we need to act on this on Tuesday night in any way?
I would say so. I do know that Mr. Hopkins will be here on Tuesday, but he cannot be here this morning.
Okay, so we'll just move that on to Tuesday night.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, moving on to IT, Zach.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
No action items this month, just a report on a couple things. As Brian said, bright lights went well at Stonebridge Park. We had an issue with the audio, but I came up with a workaround to pump music through the PA system, but had to pack that up because I can't leave that out there at the stage. The speakers that went out, they are back in stock. They were on back order for the past 3 weeks, so that was the issue there. But they are back in order, or back in stock, and they were ready to be installed for the next year's event. Onboarding for our new elected officials is complete. I think there was just one issue with Mr. Painter. Get some email on your phone whenever, just talk to me after this meeting. I'll get that set up.
Yeah, I'll come holler at you. I got you. Thank you.
And onboarding for our new recreation department coordinator is also complete. Other than that, just a few items I purchased this month. A 256 gig micro SD card for the camera. I got that during Cyber Monday. And a replacement battery for our UPS battery backup in the server room. Me and Lucas installed that 2 days ago. And it's labeled upcoming purchase, but I just completed the PO for it. It's our antivirus subscription, Trend Micro antivirus. The estimated cost was $965. It ended up being $5 more. It was about 8 cents per license, and I had 65 licenses, so it came to $970.45. That's my report.
Okay, any questions from the IT department? Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
Moving on to finance. Item number 1, we will have the oath of office on Tuesday night from Ms. Owen, our finance director. And I'll move to item 2. Ms. Owen?
Item 2 is a pass-through from the federal school system. So that's just like what we've had in the prior couple of meetings.
So we'll pass this on to Tuesday night. Number 3.
Item 3, these are budget amendments that we need to update our budget for prior items that have been approved. The first one is the Don Davidson lighting. From a prior meeting, we had requested to budget these into the general fund, which is the 110 fund. This is reclassing that and decreasing the 110 fund and putting that back into the grant fund for 186,464. The second line and also is reclassing this from the 110 fund into the grant fund for a decrease of 224,936. That 224 number is a combination of the 19,506 for the taxes, as well as the 205,430.11, which is the balance of the 500,000 that was budgeted, minus the 294, I believe, and some change that we actually had in cash in the grant fund. We're requesting just to pull that back because we had, prior request was to budget that in general fund until our ARPA cash had came in. So this is just requesting to pull that back out of general fund and put that back into grant where it needs to be, since we have received the ARPA funds in. The third line is for the Dun Roaming project. This was approved for the expenditure of $64,400, so that's recognizing that and putting that into our budget. The next line is also for, these two are bond expenditures that have been approved. The Shelbyville Highway project, that was approved for $63,250. And then the last one is an ARPA fund expenditure for the recreation tables that were approved. Again, these were budgeted in the general fund until we had received the ARPA funds in. So this is reducing the general fund and reallocating that back into the grant funds. The next line is the recognizing the ARPA funds that have came in for the $1,045,469. And then the bottom section is increasing the grant fund. So the first line is the 205,430, which is the balance to put that back to the 500,000 that was originally budgeted. The second line is the contract increase that we had for the Don Davidson project. The third line is the increase of the 19,506 for the taxes that we had to increase that had been prior approved. The next is for Hyde Engineering. That contract is a balance of $14,200. That's a rollover from the contract balance that was in FY22. So we're just recognizing that contract balance. And then the last line is the ARPA expenditures that has been approved for the departmental expenses.
So is this just, it's kind of, before we had it in, everything in general fund, once the funds were received, this is kind of cleaning up the books and clearing, making it more clear to the grant.
We had requested to put it into general fund so that if we needed to expend any items prior to receiving the ARPA funds in, that we could, because there was only $294,000 left in our grant from our previous $1 million allocation. So this is moving it back to the grant since we have received that ARPA funds in. So this is just realigning our budget to what we need it to be.
It makes it clear for everything. When the auditors look at this, everything is in that grant and expended there.
Right. It separates our general fund and our grant funds back where they need to be.
Okay, thank you. This did go through finance department, so we'll be moving this on to Tuesday night. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, number 4.
Number 4 is for our audit. This year we have exceeded a $750,000 federal threshold. When you receive in the funds such as our ARPA funds, we've received in that $1,045,000. When you expense that, if you expense over the $750,000 in any federal funds, you're required to do a single audit, which is additional to our regular annual audit. Since we have exceeded that threshold, we're requesting to have permission to do a not to exceed $5,000 to cover that audit. Mr. Owens and I will discuss it with the comptroller to see if there's any way that we can have that audit waived. We're very close, within $500 or so over that threshold for this year. We do anticipate to have that next year, which we'll budget for, but this year, since we're very close, we'll request to see if we can have it waived, but we do anticipate possibly having to do that this year.
Is there any way to go back and get any adjustments on what we purchased or any kind of rebates or anything? Any change of that?
We can, but it can be risky as well. So there's a way we can go back and ask for some rebate, but it's a real almost touchy situation if we do.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
Does it kind of give the appearance that you're hiding something or moving something that shouldn't be?
And everything was so close when, as a matter of fact, I think Jamie called me late Thursday and so last week this time we didn't even realize that we had gone over. And we looked at all those options and even the time period that we received the federal for the funds for the police department. It was within a week of the budget cycle. So it was like everything was just so close. And we did look, as a matter of fact, we scratched our heads on Friday evening to see, but we were just so, it was, you know, it could create more flags than it would resolve.
So hopefully maybe the state comptroller might be able to.
We hope so.
We hope so. All right.
Especially since next year we know that we'll have it because we have the additional $1 million plus the shortage there. So, and you're not sure with the comptroller if they have any grace. So that's what you're going to check on to see if there's a grace being that close. That's great.
But you want us to go ahead and approve in case that don't happen?
Correct, yes, sir.
Understand?
That did go through finance as well.
It did. Okay, we'll move that on then to Tuesday night. And then you also have a list there of your, the budget calendar.
Yes, this is a proposal for the upcoming budget year of FY24. If we just wanted to go ahead and provide this just in case there are any issues with the dates. We have added a contingency date on June 20th just in case we needed it for an additional date after the June 13th date. So our hopes are that we'd have the approved budget on June 13th, but we have a June 20th date on the calendar if needed.
So you're asking the board to look at their calendar, look at these dates, kind of clear that up for these budget meetings. We'll get together and look at the budget, and usually it's a long meeting and we go over everything. So.
Yes, and we have 2 work sessions that will review in details the items through the budget.
Okay, any questions? Okay, we'll move that. Moving on to administration, Mr. Owens, we will, item number 1, we will be administering the oath of office to Mr. Owens on Tuesday night. We went back and that had not been done, so we need to do that. Number 2, you want to take that?
And before, Mayor, before we leave,
yes.
What has happened, we did do it, we just didn't have a public setting as normal, and I think with my hire, Chief's hire, as well as Jamie, so we want to let the public see us so as well. And just to start out, before I give my report, I know that Jamie mentioned some funding about done roaming. Just to allow the board to know, since our committee meeting, Eddie and I have had a chance to meet with the consultants and go out and do a site visit. There may be some changes coming to that project. Eddie and I are going to talk about that immediately afterwards based on our site visit. But right now, until we get a chance to get to the committee, in January, I think 3rd. We're gonna have that project on hold until then. But based on our consultant, we have some more information, and we will share that information once he and I have had a chance to talk and bring it to the committee. And then also, based on the chief's report, I do want to report that we did do he did not mention this, but we did go out and Alderwoman Small also was in attendance. But we did have a big community forum back in November, and we have had response that they want to continue that. So as part of my report, we're working and we're planning to start doing some things, starting at the first of the year where we will have the police do a lot more community engagement, and that's going to be a plan that you will see primarily from either the police department or my office. We have started, I think last meeting we mentioned that we needed to bring up the ADA plan that was adopted in January 2021. Staff has started sitting down looking at that, and we have reached out to community development partners who help us to do that. So we're now working on that, and in the month of December, we will bring in the school board and LPU to be a part of that plan. So we have started that since the last meeting. And my third item to look forward to is that a lot of changes have been cited with the animal control building. So we're actually going through a cycle with working with the Humane Society, who's currently running. We will limit intake for a few months until we can address some of the building problems that have been deemed as secure. So I did get a chance to talk to the director out there yesterday. So in the next week or two, there will be a lot of changes in operations, but we will make sure the board is aware of those changes, as well as put that before the community prior to any changes being made. So just wanted to let you all know about that. And do you want me to go ahead through my reporting?
So do we need to act on this resolution about the animal control?
Yes, sir, I was about to explain
Okay.
that. Yes.
Okay.
If I may, so we do have an animal control resolution, as Alderman Bryan just mentioned. What I'm asking is that we look at changing the $18,750 we saved in operations from the month of July until September 30th, and allow that to go into buildings. We have some emergencies out there. The county finance department approved $20,000 to match the $18,750 we're asking right now, but we feel like we can go and address the immediate problems within $35,000. We have some exposed electrical that we feel like is dangerous for the building, employees, and animals. We would like to address that before mid-January. So that's what this resolution is asking permission to change that from operation to the building, which the city and county jointly own.
This did go through the finance department and was moved on. And then we'll need to move it before the board.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any questions on that from Mr. Owens? Okay.
So item number 3 is some ARPA funds we had left over, and we looked at giving the employees a $500 stipend, and we found that through the state that this was an allowable expense based on loss prevention that was loss revenue, that was experienced during the time of the COVID funds. So at this point, we would like to give employees that have been employed by September 30th, because we did have to have a timeline on it, $500 stipend. And the school board is doing a similar one for Christmas at $200, I believe. But we would like to do this, and this one would be taxed.
I'm good with it.
I know a lot of employers nationwide are doing the similar thing with ARPA funds, and that's what it's basically helps with. So we'll move this on to Tuesday night, okay?
Thank you. And number 4, resolution to attempt to apply for the traffic signal modernization program. What we found is a program through TDOT without any match, and that would allow us to address some of the traffic infrastructure. We've been working with LPU to get some recommendations. It's a simple grant. There's no funds required. We will not have to match anything, and this will be due by the 21st. Looking at the grant, I felt like it's a grant that I probably could do it in 30 or 45 minutes. It was not very complicated. So I wanted to ask the board permission to do so. Initially, LPU found maybe about 6 or 7 points that needed some enhancement or correction, and I can put any of those to this grant.
So this is mainly equipment upgrade.
Right. For example, one of the things I'm looking at is like we do have around the city a couple of walking crossings that are either stalled or delayed, but this will allow us to increase their technology to do that.
This study to change the traffic pattern.
No, this is actually...
Yeah, we've done that one time. We've been there and done that.
Not everybody likes it.
You don't want to go back.
Yeah, but this is not a study.
It's not to change traffic pattern.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yesterday, Eddie Plunkett and I attended the South Central Rural Development meeting, and they brought this up and were encouraging all cities to apply because it is an easy grant, it is no matching, so that's great that you're... Number 5.
Okay, so got the good news out, so let me bring up the Greenway Phase 2, and hopefully you all had the opportunity to read the email, but we did have bid openings on last Tuesday, November 29th, for the Greenway Phase 2 project with only 2 bidders. The bids at that time, they came in at Dement Construction, came in at $3,311,570. That particular cost had been readjusted to $3,309,000. And the second bid, which was from Adams, came in at $3,492,399.40, which, as you probably remember, that project was estimated at about $1.588 million. So we are more than double what we had estimated for the project. So we're looking at what to do, and we wanted to have some discussion. One option we do have is to ask for the state for some additional funds, and we've been on the phone maybe 2 or 3 times since the bid has come in to see how we go about doing that. One of the things that we do plan to ask the state, and let me go back with this bid, we have 60 days, so that would be the end of January to either sell or do something. We are hoping that the state would come back with some money. We don't have any idea of what that money would be. Our understanding is it would be based on what is available in their pools right now. More than likely, we'll be an 80-20. One of the things we wanted to leave this particular item open for discussion, and also in a discussion, if we decide to do a resolution to move forward, we needed to kind of give guidance to Mr. Hill on what that resolution should look like. So we've been trying to crunch numbers and see what options we have to advise for the board at this particular time, and just address any questions that you all may have right now.
What would the resolution, what would it be?
So we needed a resolution. We're asking the money, but in order to even consider, they want a resolution of intent, just that we still considering the project. So they needed something to let us know that they're interested if we give them funding, if they,
Would the resolution tie us to anything?
not necessarily, no. And that was one of the questions we had on the phone with our consultant.
Because I'm not just speaking for myself here. I've been in this account lot thing since I don't know Dorothy when, long time. But this right here is out of question. This is absolutely, in my opinion, out of question. Number one, the engineering firm that came in at 1.5 million, that's over 3 point something, tells you right there, they ain't worth a flip. To miss something that bad, that's uncalled for.
Well, Roger and I in finance said the same thing. The state will come back with some money and make this good. It's worth talking about, but double the price, we're not. Finance did not like this either.
I'm not even sure that we can do a 20% match on what they come back with, because we've already got a lot of funding invested in this, and although I've been involved in this thing from the very beginning, I think it's a good thing for the future, sales tax and all to bring in, but we really need to have some halfway decent numbers, in my opinion, before we jump into this any deeper. I just don't want a resolution that'll tie us to anything, period.
Well, that was one of the discussions that, and we did ask a question yesterday when we talked to Laura Lee. It would not be a resolution, it is more that we're willing to consider, and it would probably be based on if we are able to get any additional funding. And we don't even know what that funding would look like.
Yeah, the bottom line is on the Camelot project is, we started all of this, and the main thing the city was expected to do was maintain everything, which we're doing. We're doing and maintaining everything, like we said we would, and the agreements that we've had and all. But when you get in a situation, to me now, you get in a situation where stuff doubles all of a sudden, a lot of it's to do with cost of steel and everything going up. That engineer should have known better than that. And I mean, if you want to go ahead and send him a recording and let him know that a board member said that, they need to know. This is unreal. But, at some point, if we don't get control of what we put into it, the old saying is, you need to stop digging, because the deeper you dig, the deeper you get. So I think that we're at that point right now. That's my opinion. We're at that point to decide that we want to stop digging. If the state wants to come up with, this is a state, that area out there does not belong to the city of Federal. It belongs to the state of Tennessee. It is in their interest to put the major part of the funding into that by far. It really is, because it's not a local park. It's a state of Tennessee park. Well, it's not a park, it's historical. That's my thoughts. As far as the resolution goes, I don't have any problem with the resolution as long as it doesn't tie us to anything. That's my opinion.
And I think Laura Lee had initially wanted us to basically commit to providing the matching funds, which we don't know right now if it's 20%, or we might be able to get something better. So if I hear what you're saying, Vice Mayor, we would merely be agreeing to pursue additional state funds with no guarantee that.
I'm not voting for anything guarantees no 20%, because 20% on this kind of dollars is a lot of dollars. Now, I'm just saying what I'm not doing. I'm just one person here.
Finance said the same thing.
Okay, I wasn't there.
What we said, exactly.
Yeah, I wasn't there to hear what y'all said, but
I'm just letting you know, Roger and I did.
In other words, we got everybody looking close at this. But to agree to up front to do a 20% match up front, nah, ain't no way I'd do that. I'm looking at a number right here, it says $4 million. I don't know what, that's many numbers here, I don't know what that means, but this is this could very well be a deal killer of that whole project out there. If the state wants that project done, and they want it to be a state historical park, they need to step up.
Great. And one of the things, Board, if you all want to just keep on exploring, we can request to have March here for our work session in January if there's something we need some more questions.
I don't need anything else in bars, period. I don't know about the rest of the board. I done got all I need from them right here in this number. Now, I tell you what could be an option. All this is a bridge across the river. It ain't nothing else. It could be an option that down the road, and we just opt out, say, no, we're not doing no bridge. It could be an option that the internal part of the walkways and all could be completed. It'd only be a drive-in thing. The only thing, you wouldn't have the bridge people walk across. That could be an option later on. If you don't have to have two to do three. I don't know what style the state looks at. I'm just saying that could be an option. But this is, I think that we all knew that this wasn't going to end well on this phase 2. I believe we knew that. That engineer kept putting it off, and he kept messing around with it, so. Somebody else chime in here. I need somebody.
No, I think we're in agreement with you. Like I said, Jeff and I do finance, we accept the same thing, but I think we're, go ahead and move it so we get this resolution resolved and go forward. Because if we don't, we don't have a chance to get nothing. But
It's just, we're just like you're saying, we can't negotiate or anything state money without the resolution is what they're saying. We have to show some interest. That's the only reason we moved it on.
Yeah. Oh, I'm all for showing interest. I'm just not tying ourselves, saying we will do 20%, because it could be 20%, who knows, for something with. That's where I'm at. And I'm just kind of interested to see how bad the state wants this. You know, this is a good thing. You know?
if the state wants it, they'll pay for it.
I don't mind the city doing a reasonable part. We felt like a reasonable part was about where we was at with a $1.5 million estimate. When it doubles, it's not reasonable no more. No, this is city taxpayers' money we're dealing with here. To me, it's not. To me, that's a no-go. I mean, I don't see it. Anyway.
The way that I understand it, understood when we left the conversation last, without a resolution, the state will not offer anything. But with the resolution, they will give us some kind of offer. Like they said, they have no idea what, but, and then we can just listen and see what they have. But without it, there's no offer.
But we just don't tire ourselves down.
Yeah, we just want to double check the resolution then.
Yeah, make sure that.
Because we'll rescind it.
Right, that's right.
More than likely if it got through.
Do you need anything else, Mr. Owens, on that?
Unless there's any other questions on Greenway, the only other thing I had as far as administration report, January is opening on a holiday, and I wanted to see your consensus about options of whether we wanted to do committees and all on the 3rd, or do we want to do those committees that would have met on Monday? Do we want to do them on Friday the 30th? So just wanted to work your schedules to see how we wanted to do, and this is just for the holiday month, which is January. And it'd probably be the same in September and I think July, but for now we're just talking about January 23.
I'm good with either one.
What did you say?
I'm good with either one. Either option.
I can't do the 30th.
Okay.
You good with
I'm good.
We're good with the 3rd then? That's fine.
We do the 3rd.
I'll do it. We'll do it. Yeah, I'm fine.
That concludes my report.
Does anybody have any more questions for Mr. Owens?
One thing I know, we were talking about oath of office for Mr. Owens. I know we extended out his contract for a certain amount of time for the new board to get on. What is that date that went to?
It expires December 31st.
Do we need
I've got it down here on number 4.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So we can talk about there if it's okay.
Okay.
That's all right.
Okay.
If nothing else, we'll move on. And other is garbage cart policy. Alderman Martinez asked that this be placed on the agenda.
Yes, I did, and this went through committee, and I know they want to discuss it in the committee for everybody. I think we need to get this resolved as soon as we can, because I'm sure y'all tired of getting phone calls and complaints with the city taxpayers about this garbage being left behind for 2 or 3 weeks there. or whatever for the next pickup till they decide if they can get their transportation to the dump or find transportation to the dump. But I'd like to get everybody's input so we can go through committee so we can resolve this policy as soon as we can, because I think we've been discussing it now for 2 months, and all we're doing is just pushing it to the side, and these city taxpayers, as well as me, I mean, I think it needs to be resolved immediately.
I'm in agreement because there is a lot of complaints.
There's a lot of complaints.
It needs some revision.
Absolutely.
And for the service, with what they're being charged, we need to
And a lot of
make
people
sure
don't
the
have
service is given.
Absolutely, because a lot of these people, and I know it's been said, you know, take it to the dump. Well, a lot of people don't have that opportunity.
have the
That's
means.
exactly right. They don't have the means, and you know, I think it needs to be resolved. I think the board needs to come to some kind of
Well, what Eddie asked for was to come back with any changes, because he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do. He asked to come back with any changes that you want to make as a board. It's up to the board, whatever.
What was the last policy, Vice Mayor? Do you remember that before this new one came up?
Now, I'm not recommending any changes, period, to the committee on this, quite frankly, because I don't know what to change. But in the next Public Works meeting, I'm not sure what time we're going to have that. I think that time is going to be changed to the afternoon, I believe. But anybody, according to Eddie now, anybody on the board, whatever, needs to come to that meeting with ideas on what you want changed, because he doesn't know what to do. He's at a standstill because he doesn't know what to do. So whatever changes, he's asking, come back and state the changes. That's fair.
Was there a previous policy
that's what I'm saying.
before this
What was
one?
the previous
Or was this a policy, something new? Like, was there a
I
policy
think
for
it just
picking
kind
up
of
before?
edged in that if there was overflow and open cans, the garbage was left. And that's beginning to be a big problem. I like to see a revision where there's something specific about all garbage is picked up. Holidays are really bad, and people aren't going to buy an extra can just for holiday pickup.
Just need to put that in writing, unless that's what you want to do.
I'd like to see a revision.
And come back to the committee and,
Yeah,
I mean,
and
just,
I have inquired, I have not been able to receive some of the other municipalities, but if there's anything about the policies you do not like, you, as Alderman Brown was saying, just let us know what you do not like and we can bring it back to the committee. One of the things Eddie and I have been talking about holidays in anticipation that things will get, a little more busier. We are looking at how do we address the complaints, but also remember on operations that we're working very limited with trucks right now. We have trucks running. We're praying that nothing happens with what we have. So we are looking at as best as we can to enforce, how to enforce for the last couple of weeks. We just kind of been getting our little plan together on how that's going to come, because we know it's coming. I mean, it's a holidays. People get gifts. They put all this stuff out. We're going to do a little bit better with trying to let the public know what's the guidelines or whatever. But for the policies, if y'all will continue just looking at it and let us know what y'all want. But we're very conscious about the next few weeks going into January. I mean, every place in the world is going to have a lot of garbage in the next 3 weeks. Christmas parties, Christmas gifts, it's just that time of year.
So can we be lenient for the holidays? Because I know not only do they have extra, but some of them are waiting an extra day to have their trash picked up.
we're lenient in that, like if Christmas morning you have all these bags, they put them on the ground, they pick them up during Christmas time.
They do?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not according to this policy.
They do.
That's why
They make a special exception and pick those up
Okay.
during that time. But that might be a better idea, what you said, for the committee, the board members that might have changes and won't make, just come to you and Eddie, and then y'all can bring it to us. And that wouldn't tie everybody down having to come to our committee.
We're going to be looking at a lot during the holidays.
Yeah.
I'm going to be looking at some stuff because this is my first Christmas, but I even know every place I've been, garbage piles up at Christmas time.
Yeah.
So,
I think that'd probably be a better idea for the board, just to bring your suggestions to y'all and then go forward where they don't have to come sit through these committees. Would that work?
I think we need everybody's collective ideas, but I think it's the lid closures, it's not so much the garbage on site that we're discussing. I think it's more or less the lid closure that people are having it an inch, half inch, 2 inch. I don't know, you know, that's what we're discussing. It's not so much the garbage overflow with put in the bags, the lid closures would need to be discussed.
Well, the problem with the lid closure is this. The lid closure problem is this, okay, but sometimes the wind blows them up anyway, and you can't help that. But, okay, you got a garbage can and the lid is up like this because it's all full. And you get weather like we having right now, and you get about 3 or 4 inches of water down in there, and they pick all that water up and dump it, and it goes right out on the street, like all those calls we've had done Roman, several of them. That's the issue you get in with leaving the lids open right there. But maybe there'll be some good suggestions come forward that maybe we can work it out. So, you know, it's a good plan to work on.
We're gonna be very attentive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things, you know,
Yeah.
I know is coming.
Okay, so we're going to say that everybody's going to contact Mr. Owens.
With everybody's collective ideas, I
With
guess.
your ideas, and then we'll come to
Committee and then
come to the committee, come up with a new policy, okay? So
Revised policy.
alternate date and time for the work session, Alderman Martinez asked this to be put on the agenda.
I think that was already discussed.
Well, and that was January, but I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have worked out all of the kinks right now.
Okay.
So I do think we are able to operate in this for the record. We're looking at the committees in normal months. We start police and fire at 7:30 on Mondays. We will have public works at 5 on those Mondays. Then Tuesday we will have Parks and Recreation at 7:30, and then we will have Planning and IT at 8:15, and then Finance will be, I think we decided 5 on Tuesdays, and work sessions will continue as is.
Okay. All right, got that taken care of, and you'll notify the public as you always have.
We will make sure that.
Okay. Item number 3 is Vice Mayor election discussion. Alderman Payne.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, everyone here on this board, I want to say that this is just a blessing. This is a great opportunity to be on this board with all of you, to learn from all of you, to take notes, and to be a better servant to my community. But just like everyone else on this board, I was voted by the people of Fayetteville to represent their concerns, their needs, and even their desires to some degree. And I take this appointing very seriously. And I want my constituents to know that no matter what, I will always do my due diligence to research every issue brought before me as an alderman, and I will always try to represent the people of Fayetteville, including raising my hand and voicing stances that may be uncomfortable and even unpopular because they cannot. But with that being said, the concern that I want to address today is historically, the highest vote getter in the city of Fayetteville has always automatically been appointed to the seat of Vice Mayor of Fayetteville. And however, this did not occur this year. Now, our charter states that a Vice Mayor will be elected, but in the past couple of years, the research that I have done, like I said, it's always been to the highest vote getter. And I just want to preface this fact real quick. Now, I realize that I am new and that I have a lot of learning to do, but that does not mean that I am less than or incapable of rising to any challenge that has been set before me. I do it every day at my job, and I do it every day in my life. The citizens of Fayetteville entrusted me with just that, and I would not be doing my due diligence by them if I did not stand up today and address this unfortunate, and again, these are not my words, these are just words that have been sent to me through a text message, phone, Facebook message, that these are believed to be, meaning to be an unfair and deliberate manipulation of power. Again, not my words. So let me state here that I do not consider it unfortunate because I was prevented from taking the Vice Mayor position because of ego. Good Lord knows that I care less. But because of this potential and unconstitutional political coup, the people's will from occurring didn't happen. And so the question that I'm asking here is today is that why was it that the highest vote getter did not get the Vice Mayor position like it has in the past, but yet we have went to reverted back to the charter as stated? So can anyone just answer that question for me? a question for the people of Fayetteville.
Well, I don't mind speaking to that, because I made the motion.
Sure, yeah.
I think there was some misinformation put out. I mean, I heard it was in the paper and on the radio, and that the highest vote getter was vice mayor. But it never has been that way. And I'm not sure about historically. I guess maybe the last two may have been the highest vote getter. But I believe historically it's been somebody with most experience. And I'll tell you that's why I made the motion that I did.
I understand that, Ms. Thompson, and thank you. But again, as in, I understand that at one point in time that all of us sitting here had no experience whatsoever. And we had to learn how to do this job, and we had to learn to be who we are. Now again, you're right, I am young, I do not have the experience needed, but again, Ms. Alderman Small here didn't have it at one time, Mr. Bryant didn't have it, Ms. Mayor Hartman here didn't have it. So again, the question is why was it done this way and not done the other way? Like it's always been done the past 2 years, 3 years, or however. That's just my question.
Well, I can explain
I can explain a second. I didn't say, go ahead, Ms. Vaughn.
I can explain it in my vote. I think I talked with you that night, was to, and I'll use the word protect you because of all the issues and projects that we have on the table right now. You will learn. You will have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to run for mayor at some point, which I hope you do. And because of that, and because of everything that we have going down right now, that would have been hard for you. I think the board would have been remiss to put a freshman with as little experience that you have, not capability, because your capability is there. And that was my thinking for my vote.
And mine, when I seconded as well, just like Ms. Tanya said, it was experience, and I don't mean by experience because I don't know historically when they become vice mayor, but I do know they ever had experience as alderman sitting in these seats before they moved to vice mayor. So that's why when they got their next running, I think when they were the first hire, they had a lot more experience. I myself, if I'd have wanted, I wouldn't have wanted that first mayor sitting, vice mayor, not at all. I don't have the experience. It takes more than 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It truly does. There's a lot of learning curves in this seat, and there's a lot of responsibility, but that's why I say that I don't mind changing. I think the experience these guys have, I think they can have a meeting with their eyes closed.
And I hope that there's no hard feelings, because as aldermen, I want us to work together. I just want to make sure that everybody knows.
And see, that is my ultimate goal as an alderman. I'm not here for any political gain whatsoever. I'm here specifically for the city of Fayetteville and its people. I've made that clear many times. This team here is a team that represents our future, represents your children's future, represents my unborn children's future, which I hope to have. We're working to make things better for our city and its people. Now again, this isn't my concern, this is the concern of the people that voted and the constituents, your constituents, my constituents. These are all our constituents. And again, this is them, not me, and this is what they have asked me to ask this board. And so, with that being said, guys, I look forward to working with each and every one of you, doing the right thing for our city and doing the right thing for the people. I believe they voted us in here because they have faith in us. And so I just want to be able to provide the best service that we as a board can for them. And when their voices aren't heard, they look at us to speak for them. And so
I hope they can understand after today. So this is good that this was, we had this conversation, so that way they know.
It's nothing against you, like mine was for experience as well. I mean, the two that have been vice mayors when I've been in are the two that have had the most experience before this one. So that's why my vote went the way it did as well. So.
And that's understandable. That's totally understandable. And again, I don't want any hard feelings saying on me, well, I haven't been dead out for this, because I don't. Again, this team is a good team, and I think we can learn from each other and work well with one another. I know each and every one of you personally, and I know that we can do things great if we just set our minds to it. And again, I want the city of Fayetteville and its people and the people watching that this is what we're about. This is what we need to continue to be about. So.
Well, I can truthfully say that after the election was over and the votes came in as they did, I thought about it, and I thought about your experience as well. I was going to wait and see how the motions were going to be made. And after the motion was made, I thought, well, this would be the better idea. Okay. Because at the same time, I was behind you by 39 votes. I could have been nominated as well, but Vice Mayor Bryant was, and I'm fine with that.
I want to make clear, I've done made this clear to Mr. Painter. I did not seek this. I did not ask for this. The board did this on their own. I had nothing to do with this. The board put the motion forward. I did accept it. And the reason I accepted it was, till this, I've been here 14 years, I've never turned down anything this board ever asked me to do. Any mayor that's ever come in and changed me on different committees or whatever, I changed. I never say a word about it. There's one I would like to stay on this time, but the decision was made to change things up, and I'm good with it. I will do the very best I can on the committees I'm on, and that particular committee will be just fine. It'll be just fine. Everything will be right along. This is just something the board wanted to do. I didn't have anything to do with asking for this position or whatever. And it's what the board wanted to do, and I accept what the board wants to do. Whatever the board wants me to do is what I've always done. Hopefully I can continue to do that as long as it fits in my timeline on being able to make the meetings and all. And I will say this now, I will say that I do appreciate the board having that much confidence in me. But it took me 12 years to get to where I was vice mayor. It took me 12 years to get to that point. So, but I will work the very best I can. I will work the very best I can with Alderman Painter. We will get along fine, and we'll get a lot done as a board.
And the reason for this discussion here is I wanted to say this because during the voting there was no discussion made, and so that's why I wanted to bring this discussion up. So thank you all for listening. Thank the people of Fayetteville for where I am now, and like Alderman Bryant said, we can get this done and work together. Digital, you know the word, and we can get things done and accomplished for the city of Fayetteville and its people. So thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Painter, and for addressing me in your comments. I'll just say that I have gotten some phone calls about this also, and former aldermen dated back, this precedent's back for 50 years. I'm not sure. I did not go by each and every election to see how the vice mayor became vice mayor. But I was told historically it's been going on for 50 years. So, but I didn't have experience either. And when I ran for alderman, and I ran, I'm Alderman Bryant, my committees got changed. I didn't question what the mayor did. I accepted my duties and went on. There were committees that I would have preferred to stay on, but you know, sometimes you have a change, and change is needed sometimes. And some of my appointments was to give other people experience, because I think our board, everybody needs to experience these committees and the department heads, so we get a better understanding of what their requests are or why they do things different ways. So it gives everybody a better understanding. But I think we have a good board, and I think we can all work together very well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments before we move on about this? We'll move to the number 4, which is the city administrator's contract discussion. I went back and Ms. Gentry pulled the information for me. The employment contract of Mr. Owens when he was first hired in March. And then also, under the previous mayor, he chose and brought it to the board to extend the employment agreement due to the upcoming election, and there could be changes in the board. He felt it would be better for the new board to offer the contract to Mr. Owens. I would like to bring this forward at this time, and that we have Attorney Hill go ahead and prepare a 3-year contract for Mr. Owens as city administrator. We need to vote on this on Tuesday night because the current employment contract agreement expires on December the 31st, and we will not meet again before this will expire. We could have the contract ready and vote on it, and it would be effective January 1st, 2023.
Are we going to do 3 years?
We're proposing, that's what she's saying.
That's what I'm proposing to the board.
Are you comfortable with 3 years, or had you rather have
We could do it year to year. That could be good.
You would prefer year to year?
But I'll accept whatever y'all decide. But
Okay.
We can.
If that's your preference.
Be good if I do it.
So which one would you prefer?
I'm good. I just wait.
Okay.
I know what I prefer, but he might not want to do it.
I'm really good.
I'm with the mayor, I prefer 3 years, but if he doesn't want to do that, I'll be okay with
Let's
2
do
or
it in the middle.
1.
Let's do 2.
2?
Okay.
All right. I'm just trying to keep you here as long as I can.
I agree, yeah.
2 years? Well, that's reasonable. It's really reasonable. And I'm just impressed with how you've done the job.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank the board.
I feel a lot better already, Mr. Owens.
Now, can I bring up one other thing here? It is connected with this now. The charter specifies that the city administrator is to name an assistant city administrator, but we've got to vote on it. So, where are we going to be on that? I mean, is there any reason why we can't do it all Tuesday night?
Well,
Or does it need to go through committees?
we
I don't know.
discussed that, we had a
You
discussion
done
on
discussed
that
that?
yesterday.
Okay, all right. Okay.
So I think we need to get him in place first
Okay.
and then look at that. There's
All
a
right.
couple of things. The city
Okay.
attorney, we've got to address that.
Okay.
And then there's a couple of other, the assistant clerk under the city administrator, could have an assistant clerk, and then also someone who would be in
Okay.
charge in his absence. So
So we
we
did
need to get
January.
him in, yes.
January, that'd be good for me.
Okay.
I just know it's in the charter, and we've not had anybody in that position for quite some time now, so, it's kind of important as he were to get sick or something, there would be, somebody there. So
Okay.
I'm good with January.
Okay. All right, we'll move this on. Attorney Hill, can you have this contract prepared for Tuesday night?
I will.
Okay. Thank you. Number 5 is, it's only for information that I will be bringing forth a recommendation for the Parks and Recs Committee on Tuesday night. Item number...
Can we know ahead of time who that is, or?
Sure, I'm going to nominate Alderman Painter.
I think that'd be great.
And I've spoken with him, and he's willing to take it on, and he was on the panel for 3 committees in the beginning. So we have some aldermen that have 3 committees and some 4, and that's gonna change because we possibly have some other committees coming up, so, that number could change. And then items number 6, 7, and 8, this, and 9, actually, refers to service employees for, and this is the time of year that the employees are recognized. So, and I think there's a list on your iPad, so we'll be bringing this forward Tuesday night to present these awards. Does anybody have any questions on those? That's the Employee Service Awards, recognition of retirees, the 2022 Distinguished Service Awards, and then also we have one employee that will be receiving the Certified Municipal Finance Officer Award. Does anybody have anything?
I'd just like to say, and I think I should make clarification since you and I spoke, and about the appointment that was made for me for the Recreation Committee, the reasoning for turning that down, I spoke with you about that. It's purely personal with me, and I feel at ease not accepting that because I've been here for 5 terms now. I've never not accepted any committee, but I did tell you why, and I stand by that.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I'd like to add, I know there's been some hearsay that we had a secret meeting and everybody decided not to, have Ms. Alderman Small on the rec committee, but I actually heard the discussion between you and the mayor before the meeting in person. And so that's the reason I didn't second.
I understand, and I appreciate that.
I think, and Alderman Small and I had a conversation on the phone prior to that also, that we're not.
But I wanted everybody to know that I had no idea that Alderman Small didn't want to be on Parks and Rec until that night, and I actually heard it before the meeting in person. So I just wanted to let everybody know that.
I had no idea as well when I made the motion for her to stay on that.
No problem, because I wouldn't have talked to you about it, you talked to them there. Felt like that's what I should have done, and that's what I did do.
Yeah, it was in the paper that I made that motion, but I didn't, Roger made it.
Okay, now that we have that cleared up, so, motion to adjourn.
Made which motion?
I don't know, whatever was, that recreation.
Oh.